Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to Premier League predictions after FA Cup fourth round weekend. The Premier League's back, Sophie. How you doing?
Yeah, very good, thank you.
Yeah, there wasn't so many surprises in the FA Cup this time round.
No, it went to plan really, didn't it?
It's a little bit more predictable, but we're back with the Premier League nonetheless, guys. Do get your predictions down below. Obviously, let us know your predictions down in the comments. Do make sure to hit that thumbs up button. We'll go for 200 likes. And if you haven't already subscribed, let's try and push towards 25,000 subscribers. Hit the red button if you haven't already. Let's start with a really interesting game on the Friday night. Chelsea versus Fulham. Now, they did only play just a few weeks ago at Craven Cottage, where João Felix got sent off on his debut. Fulham went on to win 2-1. Chelsea have been fairly busy in the January transfer window. They spent quite a bit of money, to be fair, and they need to save their season, don't they? They need to try and climb the table, but Fulham have been very good, and I feel like this could be another tricky one for Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea will lose this time as they're at home, but I'm going to go for a draw. Chelsea might take a little bit of time for their new players to gel in. 2-2.
Yeah, I actually agree. I think it's going to be a draw. Chelsea have thrown about a lot of money with their new owner, and I agree. I think it could take a little bit of time for it to gel because there's a lot of new faces there. So for me, it's going to be a draw. 1-1. 1-1.
Okay, next up is the lunchtime Saturday game, and this may be my game of the weekend. It's Everton versus Arsenal. Now, I know it's a team in the bottom three battle versus a team fighting for the title, but the fact Everton are at home and they've now got Sean Dyche, could they throw a spanner in the works here for Arsenal? I think this will be closer than people think. It's been frustrating how Sean Dyche has come in right at the end and not really been able to bring in players that he wanted, but he's got to make do with what he's got at Everton, and I do think they've got a better chance of staying up with Sean Dyche. I don't think they're definitely going to stay up, but I think they've got a better chance. Meanwhile, Arsenal still need to grind out any 3 points they can to win the title. I think this is going to be a really close game, but I am still just going to edge Arsenal. 1-0.
Oh, so I don't think it's going to be that close a game. I think it's going to be a completely different game now that Dyche is in charge. However, if you look at Everton's squad, it's very depleted. And then you look at Arsenal, they've got good momentum at the moment. They've got a lot of positivity around the club. They're just flying. So for me, they win fairly comfortably. 2-0.
2-0, okay. I just feel like Everton will have a little bit of a boost, and they're at home.
No, I agree with that, but still 2-0.
Okay, next up it is to Villa Park as Aston Villa take on Leicester City. Now, Aston Villa are having a pretty good season, to be honest. I must say they're probably going to be able to get into the top 10 if they keep going the way they are under Unai Emery. As for Leicester City, they are heading towards the relegation battle. You'd like to think they've got enough quality to survive, but there's lots of big teams down there. Who knows if Leicester
got a few players back from injury now, so that's
James Maddison is back, of course, and they're still going well in the FA Cup, Leicester City, but I don't fancy them at Villa Park in the Premier League. I do like Aston Villa at the moment, the way they're playing, the way they're winning. I think they'll win this one 3-1.
Yeah, I was tempted to go for a 3-1 as well. However, I'm going to say maybe a slightly tighter game and say 2-1 to Villa. But yeah, they're looking very good at the moment. Yeah,
I must say, Villa are absolutely flying at the moment under Emery. Okay, next up down to West London as Brentford take on Southampton. Now, Southampton did lose their Carabao Cup semi-final match to Newcastle, the second leg. They're out of that competition. All eyes have got to be on the Premier League anyway. Can Nathan Jones keep them up? They've had a bit of business. Onuachu could be an interesting player to come into that team. Obviously, you've got Che Adams, James Ward-Prowse. I do think Southampton have got good individuals. Can they do it though? I think they're in a really tricky position. As for Brentford, we've got to say Brentford have been brilliant this season, absolutely flying, possibly battling for top 6 come the end of the season, who knows. I think Brentford will win this comfortably. I'm going to say 2-0.
Yeah, I'm going to say 3-0 Brentford. I think at times Southampton just look very, very vulnerable at the back. I mean, you've got to give them credit for their cup run. However, that's came to an end, as you say, all eyes on the Prem and just survival at this point, but they're coming up against a very, very strong Brentford side. So for me, easy Brentford win, 3-0.
Okay, right, on to another match between a team battling for top 6 and a team battling to survive. It's Brighton versus Bournemouth, and I don't think I could see Bournemouth getting anything here. They've had a little bit of business through the transfer window, but their trajectory is so downward at the moment. It's really hard to turn that around. When you're just losing lots of games, it's really hard to suddenly start winning, and especially away at Brighton. Brighton are brilliant, and we've got to give them credit for a great final minute win against Liverpool in the FA Cup as well. Brighton are just a very good team. I think they'll win comfortably. I'll say 2-0 again.
Yeah, Brighton are looking very, very good. That Mitoma, however you say his name, he is something else. Like that goal, it was just a touch and finish for me. He's looking very good. To be fair, just Brighton as a whole are looking very good.
Yeah.
Coming up against a Bournemouth side that aren't in good form at all. I think they've only got one thing written all over this, and that's a Brighton win, so 2-0.
2-0. Yeah, agreeing with me. Okay, next up to Old Trafford. Manchester United take on Crystal Palace. I like Crystal Palace. I think they're a solid outfit. But I must say, Manchester United are looking good in general at the moment, aren't they? They just continue to win on most fronts, and it's a tricky task, this one, for Crystal Palace. On seasons before, I'd have actually fancied Palace to get something against Manchester United. Yeah. They seem to be a bit of a bogey team for United every now and then. But as I say, Man United are improving. I think if they keep winning, they could maybe cement a top 3 finish this season. I think that's maybe the best they could do, and maybe win a cup along the way. I'll say Man United win this, but I'll say Palace give them a good game. I'm going to say 2-1 to Manchester United.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm actually going to agree with you. I think they concede against Palace, but for me, United win. They're in very, very good form. They're just looking very good, and I think they are going to win a cup this season, but they're not going to win the Premier League. The game against Arsenal kind of cemented that. So, but for me, it's still a good season. It's a building season for Ten Hag, and they're looking good. So, it's positive. 2-1.
2-1. Next up to Molineux, as Wolves are battling for survival, and they take on the flaky Liverpool team that Sophie predicted to. I think you predicted them to lose to Brighton, or you might have gone for a draw. But anyway,
I think I went for a draw.
Yeah, Liverpool just really kind of hitting new lows this season, aren't they? You just think, oh God.
And same with Klopp and his excuses. I'm sick of it now. I actually love the man, but some of his excuses, I just can't deal with it.
No. I think one thing I respect most in football is almost honesty.
And humble in defeat as well.
Being humble, He just comes out with excuses. And the thing is, it doesn't surprise me now when Liverpool hit a new low. And I think they could hit another one this weekend. I've got to say, Wolves have got more to play for. Liverpool are not going to make the top 4. They probably have a battle for the top 6 on their hands. But Wolves 1-0.
Oh, okay. Now I'm going to say a draw again, so probably Wolves will win. But I think Liverpool can't lose again. They've got to kind of turn it around at some point. Will they do it against Wolves? Probably not. So I'm going to say 2-2 draw.
2-2.
An entertaining game.
Yeah, sounds it. Okay, on to Newcastle United, who take on West Ham. And West Ham down there in the table, they could do with some points to push away. Newcastle United, obviously in the Carabao Cup final, got to say massive congratulations to them. If they can finish in the top 4 and win a trophy this season, they are doing so well. They're well ahead of schedule, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
At the start of the season, I think we predicted around mid-table or just in the top half for Newcastle. So they've really defied our expectations. I can only see one winner. I know at times Newcastle have been drawing 0-0 or only just winning 1-0, but I still think they'll battle this one and get it over the line. I'm going to say Newcastle 2-0.
See, I'm going to say like a slightly lower scoring game. As you say, they have really had to like battle for some of their wins, but they are getting them, and there has been a few draws in there. So I'm going to say Newcastle 1-0. Still think they'll get to 3 points. Okay,
right, on to Sunday's fixtures. 2 games to go. Nottingham Forest take on Leeds United. Massive game down the bottom. 2 sides just above the bottom 3, but who knows, in a couple of weeks they could once again get sucked back into it, so they could really do with some points here. I've got to say, 2 of the best fan bases in the division as well. Great to see these both back in the Premier League. I think with this fixture, based on their records, I would fancy Forest more when it's at the City Ground and probably Leeds more at Ellen Road. Let's talk about some of the business though for Forest. We must say they've obviously been incredibly busy once again. We said Danilo and Scarpa, and then John Joe Shelvey, Keylor Navas, Felipe, loads of players coming in, and now they've got a replacement for Henderson in goal for the meanwhile. I feel like they could go back to clean sheet ways. I'm going to just edge Forest 1-0. Leeds haven't been winning much in the league recently, so it's a big opportunity for Forest.
I think this is going to be a really tight game. I think Forest are going to have to play some of their new signings. We saw a couple of them and they looked good. We don't know about Gibbs White's injury because he went down against United, so that would be a massive miss for them. I feel like I'm going to have to sit on the fence here and say a draw. Yeah? Yeah, 1-1 for me.
Okay, that's a decent point, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right, the final game, very interesting. Tottenham versus Manchester City. The thing is, I was thinking about this game. Tottenham might just roll over just to not do Arsenal a favour. Because if they... I mean, I don't think they've got much choice in this anyway, because Tottenham did genuinely get rolled over by Man City at the Etihad. But if Tottenham beat Man City or even draw with Man City, they're doing Arsenal a favour, so I don't think their fans will have too many hard feelings about losing this game. I don't think it's in their hands to control that anyway. I think Tottenham are just a very flaky team. You think if they just put a good run together, they could maybe try and charge Newcastle down, but I don't think they're going to do it. Tottenham 1, I'll say Man City 2.
So I think Man City might actually keep a clean sheet here. I think they're really going to have to battle hard for it. But for me, as you say, Spurs have been flaking. You look at their squad, they are underperforming for me. Man City 2-0.
Man City 2-0. There you go, guys. That wraps up our Premier League predictions. Do make sure to get your predictions down below. Massive games coming, so get your thoughts down in the comments. Do make sure, as ever, to hit that like button and, of course, subscribe as we push towards 25,000. Hit that red button. 80% of you haven't subscribed. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.